Welcome here, everyone. We are set for a little bit of a rescheduled matchup, one that a lot of people may have been looking forward to. We got a Week 6 finisher here on the docket. This is going to be a treat and a half. We got Maryville and West Virginia here for the Division 1 Valorant side, and I'm very excited to get some faces on a day that normally we are not. My name is Orbital. With me is Mick, and we will be your casters for the upcoming series. Mick, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. A bit of an eventful day. Obviously, a bit different not being on a weekend where I can have no job than come into this one. But compared, energy could be drained, but I had some good sleep last night, so I should be ready to rumble on this one.
Let's go. Listen, I know for us it can be difficult. I know for the players it can also be difficult. They've been studying all day, I'm sure, but they're here to give us a good show. Maryville versus West Virginia, two teams that have already locked in their placement into the playoffs. We only got one more week after this one where matches will be solidified and the standings will be complete. But for West Virginia, a squad that came out with a lot of heat after 2 weeks is starting things off strong. They're currently sitting at 3-2. We got Leone, Dinks, Excite, Gucci, as well as A77.
Yeah, I mean, a squad that I've praised constantly through the entirety of this year and what they can really accomplish once you get them firing on all cylinders. But unfortunately, in this season so far, not really hitting those high notes as consistently as we've wanted them to. Gucci hasn't had the same kind of performance, being that kind of top of the board leader in terms of kills that we've seen over and over and over again. Excite's been kind of holding things down. Dinks is looking good on the Neon and at the Waylay at times. It hasn't served to be that same distraction we're used to him being. And A77, I mean, he's the one I feel like is working the most in tandem with Leone, the new IGL of the squad, the team leader and the one who has had to really slot in, try to be perfect in this process. But a couple of hiccups over the course of this season. But if there's anything, this is the week, I think, quite frankly, where if there was time to cook, good God, you better have a perfect meal ready.
Yeah, I mean, you can see here they've been trying their best, and Leone, of course, trying to build the best Iron Man suit for the job, starting with scraps inside of a cave. We get it. I mean, they've been trying to build something great here, and in that Dark Horse factor, as you called, it's up against a pretty stiff test. Maryville, obviously, the projected undefeated team here in Division 1. It's a difficult task, but if anyone's up there, it is Leone and the rest of this West Virginia squad. They went 2-0, 2-1, starting off the first weeks strong.
Yeah.
Had a couple tumbles there in the mid, but bounced back pretty well against Stony Brook just this past week. So they're hoping to do a little bit more of the same. Looking on the other side, though, we got Maryville, and this is a team that really needs no introduction. It's a squad that does obviously top leaderboards each time. We got the full roster here on the day: Renz, Cloric, Ange, Giza, and Shondex to rep it out.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk about, waking up, smelling the roses on the side of West Virginia, this is the roses because, well, they are usually the winners having those flowers thrown at them, but they are also the thorns because, man, do they hurt when you get on the server up against them. They are a problem in and out, through and through, again and again, and so darn consistent. And, I mean, this is going to be the perfect team for anybody over the course of the season to really go ahead and have that wake-up call of what you have to manage to beat in that grand final situation. And well, West Virginia, I think, are pretty primed for it, considering this is the end of their road of again and again, where they've had back-to-back the likes of, obviously, at Stony Brook. Then you also had Boise State to kind of kick everything off. You had St. Clair and Winthrop all in there, that middle stage, where it feels like that there's anybody who has had kind of the nice schedule of saying, hey, let's take this step by step by step by step. West Virginia has been the team to be given that, but this is the pinnacle here. This is the top of the staircase before you get a bit of a breather.
Yeah, and the maps will be no different. It's a little bit more of a breather for the squads as we have a little bit of a variety pack here on the night. We've seen bind, we've seen split in multiple different instances, and this time around it might be a little bit of a blow, if you will. We had the bind, we had the Haven both banned away, but we are going to split Corrode and then Breeze. Those last two are a little bit more surprising to me, but it's no surprise that we're seeing some of the staples taken away.
Yeah, I mean, Bind and Haven, kind of one of those two maps that we do see kind of those skirmishes going down, but even more so it makes sense for West Virginia for these more kind of methodical maps where you have game plans, layers and layers of just history there inside of Haven, because the map hasn't really changed nearly at all, besides obviously the reinforcement that's thrown inside that B main on the attacker side for that spam shot, but still, beyond that, nothing's really been touched. And when you look at Maryville, they're the ones who I mean, in terms of history, in terms of legacy, their playbook clearly has to be the thickest because they have the players to back it up as well and who have all that recognized, almost like an entire football team, man. Quarterbacks with that whole play call right on the wrist. But Bind is another one of those maps where, funny enough, Maryville don't want to end up going to, rightfully so. This was one of West Virginia's kind of big hitters of the course of that last split where Gucci was holding down A main every single day, and it felt like he was finding at least 3 or 4 just smoking himself out. Issue is, we haven't seen West Virginia hit those same strides. They keep on picking Bind. They keep on wanting to get there. They keep on looking good, but they haven't looked nearly as great as prior. And, well, you don't want to find out if this is the week they wake up.
Yeah, you don't want to allow them to kind of, wake the slumbering giant in themselves. We give them a lot of credit. They fight hard, and they fight well. But for Maryville, it's the same thing. They are a squad that obviously have done their homework. They are ready to fight it out as much as possible. And on the split, it's a pretty simple map itself. To open things up, we will have on the defensive end West Virginia, so Maryville will get their patented stride of being on the attack, being allowed to kind of put down that line of action in there. I will always say I love watching powerful teams take the attacking side first, whether it was their choice or not, because it sets that precedence. How is the match going to go? Is it going to be fast and furious? Are you going to be kind of attacking? You have the baton first. You get to decide how fast each round starts. And I know Maryville, we've literally seen them, as he said, they have a very deep roster. When your first string and second string are literally neck and neck at that level, I mean, the entire squad is terrifying. So I want to see how hard they come out of the gate here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're only going to be as good as your training partner is in terms of actually training you. So you talk about that kind of secondary roster, tertiary, whatever the case may be, having that roster depth. If you do end up kind of having to go through, kind of idealize things, it's like any other esport or even in like the TCG or fighting game scene where you have those sparring partners, those people kind of experimenting with you, telling you, hey, iron sharpens iron. This looks good. This looks good. This doesn't look nearly as good. This may even kind of look terrible at times. But you have that admiration towards each other, that respect in play to let you know, okay, they're saying this from a good place, from the elevation of the bottom line of what this program can accomplish. And it just makes things so much more efficient long term. But I mean, Maryville having that in hand, Winthrop having that in hand, you see what they can accomplish. You see why they're the top 2 programs, because it just feels like they get a lot more sharper than everyone else. But on a day-to-day basis, you never know what could happen here. Different day, different kind of routine here for maybe some of these players. So could be a different outcome, at least to maybe give West Virginia the leg up for at least a first map, I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see West Virginia come out with some fire on the defensive end. I want to see some of the agents that they are going to utilize here on the split end, of course. We've seen some of that groundwork be laid out, some more aggressive stances being used on B site before. Mid is always a big cautionary tale, though. When you look at split, mid is very important, a lot of that transfer opportunity. So will West Virginia be very focused on controlling that mid, utilizing their pressure to ensure that I feel Maryville has to pick one side or the other, or are you going to falter to the firepower? It's a lot of questions up in the air, and for West Virginia, you're going to write that story in the opening, 3-4 rounds, and then from there, good luck, have fun, do whatever you want to, because that's when Maryville gets rolling. How quickly are you going to be able to kind of push your way up?
Right, and one thing I'm also curious to see is going to be the likelihood of Maryville bringing in that kind of pseudo-duelist, what the introductions are going to be there. They usually like to kind of go the clove, in that situation. Apparently not as much sleep as I thought, but the clove has been a big introduction for them. They love to go those kind of skirmish-type play styles. They love to get in those fights. They love to just, once they unravel and once they kind of get kicked off, they like to really rev that engine as much as they can, burn as much gas, and then just really kind of on a snap-to-snap basis take these fights when they're given to them. And I think with the kind of pseudo-duelist setup that they do with the Clove, with the Yoru, with anything else that they bring into the table, those smokes, more times than not, prove to be useful for them, but it's the rest of the kit that really shines in the players' hands here on the side of Maryville. But West Virginia, this is one of those few teams like the likes of St. Clair who ended up bringing Maryville into a 2-0 during that grand final last split, who also honestly excel inside of those smokes. So love to see those thrown down. They had that crosshair placement on lock through those smokes. They managed to usually find maybe 1 or 2 kills that can't really be traded out. So it could be a situation where if they're kind of overused today, that could be its own pain point. But Maryville, I mean, obviously probably going to be pretty, I'd say, conscious of that in the process. And I think, honestly, they may limit that in piece of their kit, piece of their agent to kind of compensate for what is going to be available when the fight actually unfolds.
Yeah, they're always a team that will respect their opponent no matter who they are, no matter their record, and I think that's something that I personally like about Maryville each time. They come to the table ready to fight. However, both teams are ready to fight in one way or another. They are currently battling maybe some technical difficulties in there. We want to make sure they're playing at their prime. We understand Tuesdays can be a little bit under the weather, so we'll make sure we're set to go for map number 1. Don't go anywhere. Division 1 Valorant will be ready to dive into map number 1 of this final Week 6 matchup in just a bit. We made sure to really prep those PCs, make sure the hamsters have a lot of food, water, and the wheel to spin. It has been oiled up, and I'm sure the players are ready to go. We're going to be diving right on into the first map of Split. Attack side over to Maryville with West Virginia on that defense. Picking up those agents, very standard. We've seen these before, and I didn't think there would be any time for them to kind of split from that regular meta that they like to run.
Yeah, and seeing on the other side, I mean, looking at Maryville kicking things off, I mean, really looking at that attack. I mean, I talked about the pseudo-duelists, looking at the Yoru every here and again, but even then still the Clove being another thing that feels like it's always viable here on Split, but instead Maryville just going ahead. As I mentioned, smokes may not even have to come into play here. They're just going ahead and completely removing that from the likes of their arsenal, going right into the double duelist setup. So lots of aggression going to be facilitated here by the side of Maryville, wanting to go ahead, control the pacing of the game at their timing, when they can, where they can, and having on the attacking side obviously going to be looking good. And considering the kind of prowess and the shots capabilities out of these players. I mean, rightfully so. Cloric and Giza, these guys will be able to hold their own. And at that point, just wait for these retakes to come underway. And you're going to have two duelists just running right on in, which, better yet, not running. That's Neon's job. Waylay is going to be dashing right in behind. So it's going to be interesting to see really how they can go ahead, set these things up, serve these distractions in place, so those other three guys can really get in the mix.
Yep, make sure that you create enough space for the team, enough space to cause that chaos and get those dubs as you so wish. No Clove this time around as we get the full view opportunity. This is a new view that I haven't seen in ages. I have to give them a lot of credit for it. We will get this adjusted very shortly, but big eyes, of course, are the first buy out. I am wondering exactly where we are going to watch for the side of Maryville. Where do they want to attack first? Looks like a pretty easy default. I will give them credit on that one. As a little bit of a mix and match opportunity. Full top left side of that screen as we are watching one. This is West Virginia to have a very deep pan on that defensive end.
Well, you're going to have a perfect idea where everybody is at any point in time with the mini-map taking half of our screen. But the crosshairs at the bottom right at the moment. And, well, we're looking at a couple little skirmishes right through the middle of the map where we do have a bit of a stance coming through for West Virginia with that double-decker going down. One player inside Vince, one player over there towards that Heaven on the B side. Looking to make sure they can just hold everything down because that mid attendance is so primo for anybody who's really going to be kind of getting things underway. But rightfully so. You're going to have a lurking Viper, too. That's going to be Cloric over towards that A side. Looking to go ahead and see what kind of fights he can manage himself into. But even then, there's going to be three players going ahead, rushing on him, given the opportunity for Maryville to move over towards that B side if they want to. But instead, they rather pinch things in. They rather take advantage of the moment given to them while Shawnex is going to, or Cloric is going to be overwhelmed, maybe, if all the players didn't squeeze right past that toxic screen.
Oh, that feels real good. And now you are open to the elements. A77, really solid shot in that corner. That was the one area they didn't clear, and they will take advantage of it as such. Maryville plant down on A, and now here comes the full rotate. Eyes out for that mid lurk, though. A little bit of lower sewer side. Dinks, though, entering in from stage lower. Ren saying no worries about that one. Dinks is gone. Quick free fire up in tower. Giza for that answer. Ange and Ren's taking one apiece. Only a few left alive. It's going to be difficult. Maryville making this a powerful statement for left alive here at the start.
Yeah, big start here for Maryville. Obviously, hold on to a lot of those guns. Cloric being the only one dropped in the process, and he was the one who was already in a 1v3 to kick things off, but did more than enough in his job. I mean, not even really concerning much to damage too much, but even then, still giving that information to say 3, you're back in A main. That's where a lot of your priorities need to be going towards. Everything else, I mean, maybe one guy coming from back screen, one guy coming from up on Heaven, but beyond that, there's going to be fights you were already collectively together, having that same overwhelming force from. So A main shouldn't be kind of really too much of a problem point, considering that if you guys win those fights out, you'll have new abilities up and running again. You'll go ahead and maybe get some ult points, whatever the case may be. But still, a different approach to this round. Not going through the middle, having those gun advantages, having the Marshall in hand, wanting to go for those longer lineups towards that A site to kind of knock that player that's holding screens. Maybe anybody pushing up and towards Heaven, like A77 there, back towards those boxes. There's just so much here that, I mean, we see Maryville trying to take advantage of with this weaponry now in hand.
I love the fact that they placed that Marshall on the A side. Much longer sightline to work with. Only so many angles you can come from. For West Virginia, though, once again, playing smart in terms of this anti-eco. We're facing off with the no-buy. You know that there are going to be some opponents. Nice bird, gets a response, recognizes, but you see ahead at the very tail end. So Maryville gets all the information in the world. Renz, of course, understands that there's at least 4 to 5 filtering in. Another bird, no block, and that's just Renz with a quick sprint and fire. One down, thanks to its sight, but the rest of Maryville on lock. Dead bodies litter this hallway on the back end side of sight. Giza with the 3K makes it clean. Maryville only losing 1 once again.
Barking with the dogs there. Nice little cleanup there from the likes of Giza. I mean, knowing that angle, going ahead, getting the flash there, seeing if he can deter players out towards that main area of the map where that smoke had gone ahead and dissipated. But still, the bait wasn't taken by West Virginia. Wanted to go ahead, overwhelm this guy, knowing he was using that utility to kind of go ahead and fade him off a little bit. But, I mean, hey, They understood. We got numbers here. Problem is, Giza has guns. And, well, that was the kind of determining factor there, is that Bulldog was able to go ahead and clear up house. But it's going to be having to be just as nearly as prevalent inside a round like this when you see the full buy coming through from West Virginia. These full rifles in hand, looking for that middle of the map, looking for that pressure, anybody to overextend themselves. And Shondex being maybe guilty of it, but that smoke isn't down just yet. They're going to go ahead, try to get that coverage, try to make that call, wait for that smoke to go down since he's already crossed back, and maybe find a free kill off the back of it. But understandably so, you're going to go ahead and back off this. Leone does want nothing to do with the likes of Shondex, and even then, the other players going to be behind him, making that an easy trade and maybe an upgrade as well in the process. So good calls here from West Virginia. Hold off. Let these guns speak for themselves in that post plant. When you're in a situation where you know you're going to be encountering players and not being overwhelmed, like Gucci is right here inside a garage, picked off with the Sheriff, an upgrade managed for Ange, and, well, the rest of the team obviously probably going to press W off that since they're already in B with their 2 duelists.
I mean, it's an easy choice to make at the end of the day. Really, though, my eyes are drawn towards that mid once more. It is always a dangerous spot if you haven't cleared it, so that could be a good look for Maryville to get a flawless round here. One through the lobby, and now the eyes from the garage. Ange, though, looks away at the wrong time. Dink's able to dink one. Are you going to find more, though, is the problem. Look at this flank, the sky, ready to rumble on that far end. Lorenz on the lower corner. A77, great shot. Shondex is down. A77 high ground. Waiting for a teammate, but not able to find it. Giza, see the right people. Excite, get some revenge. You don't know where the opponent is, and because of that, Leone fires away. Maryville left with one. Giza, can you do it? You don't look in time, and that'll be the round for West Virginia. Do they not have time? Do they wait a little bit too long? They have time, yeah. 1 second left. I keep forgetting about that timer. 1 second, plenty.
Just enough for him. And even still, not too much remaining in terms of the player allocation. Seeing the 3 of the players knocked out for West Virginia there made things a little bit awkward for him. But Maryville, understandably so, feeling like maybe they needed either a bathroom break, another, pause for their prod, whatever the case may be. But it's West Virginia calling things out there, looking to understand, hey, that was a little bit rough, but not worried about those first 2 rounds too much. Trying to figure out really what they're going to do for a game plan going forward, but they don't have much of an actual sample size to play with out of Maryville just yet. I mean, only 2-3 rounds on the board, one of which is pistol, and you can never really take too much for. It's more strategy, feeling things out, seeing what gunfights can be given to you, because everybody's trying to get acclimated with what these placements are going to be looking like. But obviously, Maryville, the ones following, knocking out all 5 players clearly, only trading 1 in the process, and the one the last, where they still knocked out the majority of West Virginia. They're not going to have much to come into this one. So I think they're trying to go ahead and really figure out how they can utilize what players are still stacked in the arsenal and have that full bat utility belt available to them, compared to the ones that are going to be straggling about, trying to figure out how they could trade these guns off, and if a player does end up dying, still get that full value from those things in hand.
Yeah, I am still very surprised that West Virginia actually opted for this time out. It feels like it was a very early call to make. But I guess they understood that, hey, this is the time to really get things under your own belt as well. You talked about the full utility belts. Well, the utility ain't always there. West Virginia working on some short end shields. 2 with light, 1 with regen, and 2 fulls. I don't know if that'll make a big difference. It might be the mainstay play, but for Maryville, loaded up, chasing that B lobby in the garage. Big call out, though, as the smoke slows them all down. Only 1 defender over here on the B side, but with 1 in that tower. Inside tower might be enough. Gucci trying to get that short-range TP off. Allow space for 877 to get first blood before refragging out. Ange cleans Gucci from the lower connector. Giza wipes Leone from the map. 3 left alive as Excite got some revenge, but West Virginia with 1 left alive. Or Dinks has to pull off a miracle. Miracles can be made, though, as that's 1. 3, 2 more to go. Spike down on B, but you don't want to risk stepping out and showing your face.
Poison's off.
Yeah, most definitely not. I mean, especially considering what you're in right now. 1v2 situation where you got Maryville just kind of going ahead, holding things down on this side. Timing, panning out for Dinks here once more. The guy is a duelist. You're expecting to be inside every single fight possible, but that's where the wild card comes out. He's not. Ange can't get away from that paint shell. He thought he cleared it out a little bit, but maybe there was a patch that came through that expanded the blast radius of it, because he took enough to go ahead and give West Virginia a second round on the board. Give Dinks a showstopper to play with in the round coming next. So if you see Dinks, and rightfully so, there's A77 with that resurrection in hand, that could be an opportunity to say, well, it's one last rally, give it a shot, because Maryville could be stacked. And, well, while they're not exactly stacked in the money, as Giza's trying to buy up a Guardian here, the rest of the team at least has something to play with. But if they end up losing this one, it's going to look pretty worse for wear in the next.
Yeah, you don't want to end up on that floor rolling with no econ to play off of. So for Maryville, it's all about, you know, getting that up to speed. Giza at 7, though, waiting for an ultimate. West Virginia already have theirs online. Resurrection plus the Showstopper can be big play makers, especially if you want to get a little bit chancy. That's a little bit of poison, plus a wall and extra. Jinx with that Showstopper is going to rocket fuse that straight in, but doesn't really catch anyone. So instead, you're trying to work through that blind. Giza with a great domer drops Jinx quick. Revive is still available if they can make it in. For Maryville, the heals come out and everyone is topped up very, very nicely. It's almost like the damage never happened.
Right. I mean, it would have kind of go ahead, get whatever they need to get done in the process. I mean, still beautiful looks for actually holding in this post plan as they're allocating themselves in kind of these corner sections, look at these close quarter fights, which could go ahead and give maybe a West Virginia a run for their money in these eco rounds when they have those SMGs in hand. But for the ARs, I mean, it just comes down to making sure the flicks are there and present when necessary. So looking to see if we can get an extension out of Shondex, get maybe a kill or two off of it, which he does manage. But it's a big investment coming through so far because already the Guardian has found so much value here. Clark managed to find one more at A77, just trying to maybe pick up a weapon, get out of dodge, and keep his life in the process, but he's not checking behind him, which, speaking of upgrades, there's Giza with one, even though the Guardian did absolute work for the likes of West Virginia's roster.
I mean, that's as nice as you can get it right at the end of the day. I love what we just watched from Maryville. Clean, concise, and a closer. You drop 2 ultimates. You watch West Virginia drop 2 ultimates. You still won the round, and now you see that maybe there are 2 more on the board if they're keeping track. But for Maryville, it was a solid round to play, and they're going to try and do a little bit more. Renz with that overdrive ready to clock if they so need. Giza might be able to do the same with another set of Seekers on that horizon. So for West Virginia, their line of sight might be obscured or their spots might be identified. Either way, this default to start will give pace for first blood.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so on the side of West Virginia, not investing too much here towards the middle of the map. I mean, we saw the double player allocation early, but I feel like they were losing a little too much in that scuffle there. And even then still, when you look at the utility available, don't invest it there. Maryville are going to take that part of the map no matter what. And even then, if you're trying to just lurk about just for information, you're still going to die in the process there, as Leone just did. So it's an unfortunate fate for him as he's going to be looking for the sidelines for a while. But hey, for an IGL, it makes it a lot easier to make calls when you're not having to worry about where your crosshair is in the process. But look at the rest of West Virginia. They just, well, are trying to feel out what exactly is going to be thrown at them here. Because, again, we're seeing players maneuver over towards the A side with Cloric sitting back towards spawn, managing a kill, making the call that more than likely 1 dead over in vent, 1 dead on site. Worst case scenario, there's only a singular guy here. If there's a time to go, it's got to be now.
Well, they'll make that call. CT spawn is going to be held, and Gucci and Excite don't look like they really have any inkling to try and push their way into sight. Instead, it's Renz who has been at that forefront with the electricity. Fully charged up, the bat is ready to go, and maybe they can do so. There's a blind info given, at least one around that corner. Ange might be willing to pull it off. Instead, Maryville might make this very comfortable and safe call. But just back away, don't test your luck. However, Shondex really does want those kills. Shocks to the left and right, and is able to collapse their third. A solo play to clear them out, leaves them all alone. And poor A77 having no way out of that one. Flawless for Maryville.
I managed to get all players off site too, clearly carrying all those guns over to the next. And, well, that was the concern that you had for him in that last round. See, the money wasn't really looking all that hot for him. Couldn't really manage too much, just barely in the round before. But still, I mean, it's obviously surpassing right now. And a flawless every single player managed to carry things over. I mean, that's going to be a big bolster to him alongside the 4. And we'll go ahead and just call it 5 for the sake of being 8 out of 9 for that Viper's Pit so far. I mean, Maryville feeling very, very paced in this game, not really having to expend too much just as in terms of an answer, just really being in control of what's going on in front of them, that where West Virginia is more so going to be having to use this. So already popping those Seekers, trying to see what's going on there on the terms of sight, considering B has that massive column in the center, and our players can be lurking around that, moving towards that center, maybe retreating back towards heaven. Well, you know they're at least up there now because Diggs has gotten a singular kill on the Renz. In exchange, though, Viper's Pit's there. Seekers are sniffing out these players of West Virginia, but it may not be enough. Already 2 for 1 of the exchanges, but it's 3 and 3 on the board.
For West Virginia, you've done about as good as you can in evening things up. Not only that, you play and deal to Shondex. Well snuffed here. as you look to close on in, forcing Cloric actually out of their own Viper's Pit, so that's gonna be a difficult one to spot. Down goes a Viper's Pit. Giza gets a ringer, dinks on 3, and now your position is given away. Cloric's gonna play with some mess. Timing is not in your favor. Dinks with the 4K though. And that is a huge win for Dinks. 0.4 left. That is now the second time we've had just over or under a second left.
Well, that's the beauty of it, man. I mean, you get around in the game long enough, you know when those ticks come through. You know those audio cues, and well, Dinks knew when to press the go button. And he has been very, very confident in this matchup thus far, which is beautiful to see. A lot of these teams kind of go ahead and get plagued by knowing, ugh, it's Maryville week, y'all. It's just one of those matches, just fold over. Just try to make it go as long as you can. But Dinks has the confidence here, and I mean, it's beautiful to see, knowing that the rest of the team can hopefully rally around that, understand that while, sure, Leone's been dying first in a lot of these rounds, 1 in 6 of the board so far. Like I said, it makes the IGLing that much easier for him to make those calls, get the perspective of everybody, and kind of really lay out these game plans, which could have helped during that retake. We're not inside their comms, but we have a pretty darn good tell of what these guys are capable of. So West Virginia looking once again to kind of hold things down the middle. Leone holding that right up there towards those ropes in mid, and Cloric once again trying to sneak through the black lines, trying not to get killed himself, at least managing one, and knowing that somebody else is going to be there.
It's a solid shot in play. Maryville very happy about that first pick. He also knocked out that showstopper. And here comes that line. The alleyway of electricity brings Renz even closer towards that B side play. But A77 was ready. Great shot number 1. Refrag out from Ange. That test though, Maryville still have a player advantage, and the far lurk though puts it to a 3v3. Take a look at that. Giza lines it to a 3v2. Leone comes around the corner. Free shots, catches Ange in the leg. Inside the smoke is diabolical. It feels like Excite rounds the corner as well. Now it's a full 2v3. Great shot by Leone after the blind. What a well-timed 2-man play. But Giza yet again taps. It might not be the Guardian, but it's close enough with the Vandal. 2v1. Leone gonna bide their time.
Last player standing.
And still gets the 3K. One more. Cloric hops on down. Hard spray. Leone gonna keep trying to defuse, and Cloric gets the last stray shots. Closer than they would like, but Maryville maintain the lead.
Yeah, rightful confidence coming through there for the likes of Maryville. Understanding they had the player number advantage, and go ahead, throw a player's live at the problem. See if it goes ahead and solves it. Unfortunately, it doesn't. You still got another guy there to go ahead and trade things out. You're not worried about this round either, because you know that even if you don't have enough money, like Mr. Shondex over here, you still at least got enough for everybody else, while West Virginia is kind of just scrapping for pennies between the couch cushions, which, keep in mind, those could be rare in their own right since we ain't minting those anymore, but yeah, it is what it is. But seeing how things are going here, good looks for Maryville, trying to go ahead and still every round get some middle presence, get this team of West Virginia, you know, acclimated to that center, understanding that those fights are going to come underway. And well, unfortunately for West Virginia, they're looking to see if they can throw a curveball their way this time. Say, anytime they don't go mid, they just rush over here towards this A side. They barely do it on B. They just did it on B. Well, Leone's up there towards B heaven, and nobody else is on that half of the map. So this kind of looks like free real estate, and the call is even made to Cloric. Stop pushing up over there. It could be a death trap. It's looking pretty empty over here, so you may be losing your life for nothing. So already seeing Leone towards the back of that heaven section, that's a free call to the rest of the team. Maybe go ahead, get that set up, get that execution in play, and just get on site and get that spike ticket.
They're going to be hoping for. It's a whole defense from West Virginia, but again, this B side is fairly open. It'll be clean plant here. For Maryville, where do they wish to apply their retake defense? Couple high, 1 through mid as well. Maybe a long rotate if they so wish. Challenges made by West Virginia. Smoke through that doorway. 2 held by Gucci and Leone. Can't wait to see if they're going to try and breach on in, but Renz might have the perfect lineup on 3. Taps 1. Insight catches the second. Ange able to help on out. It's all left at the 2. Inside CT. This sucks. Alleyway, never really fun one to play. The other goes down. Gucci takes 1 more to the grave, but Shondex barrel stuffs Gucci. There's the Maryville that we know. 6 here in the first half.
And even then, great looks coming out from Maryville in terms of understanding those trades there at the end of the round, knowing they had the outlaw on hand, let that guy go ahead and push up. another rifle's been dropped, but it's okay. You had 4, and that outlaw can be upgraded to something else. You're not really stressed out once more about the circumstances of your wallet. You're looking at the score of the game because, well, you're up by 3. In West Virginia, I'm sure, still worried about that same exact play to them because, well, they're on the opposite end of the coin here. With these 3 ultimates in hand, though, this could be something to kind of turn things around because we do see a lot of Maryville in terms of that back line, obviously beyond the likes of the 2 duelists. Everyone in Maryville staying relatively close together where that showstopper could have that impact, at least in a retake situation. But the problem is, if you end up dying like Leone here pretty early on inside these takes, you're not going to be able to use it. But Dinks, still, he's not in a situation where it feels like he has to use it. He's been beautiful in gunning down these Maryville players, especially in these retake scenarios thus far. So I would, wait to maybe see if he's ever going to pop that, if he's ever in a situation to feel pressure, because, well, in a 3v5, that could definitely even things out for you as you have Gucci knocked down towards that B side.
I mean, that was a beauty of a shot, baiting with the smoke first and then flying in for the shots. Well done for Maryville. These rotations are constantly drawing 1 or 2 members away from West Virginia's side. Mailroom is not safe by any measure, but Dinks makes it difficult. 2K! It's enough to make it a little bit more dangerous. It's 2v3 setup here for Maryville, where they feel like they should have had all 5.
I mean, understandably so, but I mean, Dinks still, as I said, this guy is a bruise on Maryville right now. Just doing so much work, even then stunned in that skirmish there, managing to find 2, and rightfully so. A77 knows if there's a guy who's going to kill some more, it's going to be him. Showstopper in hand, Viper's Pit in play. See if the flash manages to get anybody, because if not, they got to be tucked away in a corner somewhere, maybe towards the outer B lane. No hits there. A77 finds Ainge. This should be the point where you can go ahead, stick that defuse, wait for that final player to push out, because Viper is alive, and it is Cloric looking for 1, finding 1, but not a second. Dinks closes things out again. West Virginia find themselves number 4. Well, Maryville, they got to start locking in a little bit and making sure to kill that raise sooner.
I mean, that was... I don't know how much more to call it. That was West Virginia. I mean, Dinks shelling out 11 so far here in this game, and I mean, that was a beauty to watch. And then A77, of course, with that revive, it always feels good to have that sage in your back pocket. Maryville, I think they can chalk it up to Dinks having a solid game plan right there in terms of holding down Mailroom and somehow fragging out of their mind, if you can call that a game plan. We'll see if they can do it once more as Maryville still have enough to buy up. They're looking for 1 as Dinks takes a very risky peek, but barely takes any damage instead. So West Virginia keep all 5 fingers.
Trying to. Which necessarily when you're dealing with a gun, you only need 1 to pull the trigger. So that's all you can have to get the job done. But that is if you have the right guy doing it. Well, Dinks on the side of West Virginia, we've already seen, most definitely can. The rest of West Virginia, though, have to wake up here eventually. And I think they're definitely capable of doing it. It's just understandably so. When you're playing Valorant, you're getting your own head here, man. You're spectating, you're dead. Just feels like more times than not. Leone, it doesn't matter too much, obviously. Like I said, an IGL still has something he can do, but everybody else on the side is just looking like worse for wear. But a nice little trade goes through the middle of the map. Giza is now out of the fray, and, well, in the earlier rounds, he was the leader in terms of the kills, being that Sky, being able to flash out those close corners, make sure that you have an advantage in every single given opportunity, but it's just down to Maryville and all the remaining abilities at their disposal, and I think a Waylay converging paths would be pretty nice. Issue is you're running a Dinks, so you know that he's at least going to find 1, but it's still a 3-on-3. West Virginia have a greater health pool at hand. Can the confidence be in play here to retake this successfully for the remaining players, and Gucci just can't do it there.
Nope, and with that kind of twist around the side, it leads it to a 2v1 all left. A77 solo, and Ange was more than ready for it. Great tap at the end. Maryville maintains 7, looking for 1 more to end this half in extremely good standing.
Well, just another one there, guaranteeing at least an advantage at the end of the half. Worst case scenario for Maryville, but I mean, it already being at the conclusion of the first half, the last round of it, West Virginia's really held in there, man. Beautiful looks from them. I mean, Maryville, keep in mind, a team as amazing as they are, running a double duelist, kicking off the attacking side here, you would expect, more of a 10-2 kind of lineup out of them. But West Virginia just really kind of making sure that they don't feel overwhelmed here, like they're too much of a problem. I mean, Dinks has done a great job just keeping, once again, that respect in play from Maryville, not letting them run it down, not letting them just overwhelm these guys for free every single instance given. So if they can do it once more in a 5v5 retake, no ultimates on the board this time around. So it's just down to what utility do you have, what can your guns do, and with this flap around coming through, Shondex and Chloric going ahead, closing it for one. Leone back on the board, but immediately traded out as Maryville trying to close things out. Bucky gets a hand of one, but still Excite is here to play and has maybe a shot in this 1v2, but doesn't really have great guns for it. The Vandal's been picked up. That call has to be made by Renz. He's going to go ahead and hold out the screens and maybe give Giza a bit of a leniency here, but I don't know. Time is ticking. You got two players lining up in the same spot. Stun goes out. Double decker for Maryville in round number 8 as they double the rounds too.
You know what? For a final round of a half, I give them credit. They made it messy, and I always love a messy round. Maryville made it a little bit closer than they would like. West Virginia came out with some fighting, and once again, it was the back of Dinks to start things off. But A77, Excite, Leone, and Gucci all stepped up to bat as hard as they could. I mean, the jumping Bucky from Excite was hilarious to watch. Still, though, Maryville kept their calm, cool, and collected. And now moving into the second, they just need 5. And it's a squad that, they open up with some solid pistols. We know that they can take these fights. It shouldn't be outside of recognizable for Maryville to go ahead and claim this map number 1, clean it up here in the second half.
Well, there's definitely a chance here. I mean, Dinks, if he's at the front of the line and manages to find maybe 2 every single round, I mean, you guys are primed to close this thing out, or at least bring it to, a 13-10, which up against Maryville, you're thinking, hell, they should be able to close it out against every other team in the league besides Maryville. But it's been a long road to get here. They've definitely elevated themselves as a team over the course of the split. And I mean, this is where they have to be in prime form. Obviously, playoffs too, but this is the one where you could really put your name on that pedestal. But Chloric ends up shutting down the dreams relatively early as Dinks is unable to find that 1 kill I mentioned prior, and it's up to the rest of the squad with these pistols in hand to maybe find the 5 that still stand for Maryville, albeit one of them is, just a little tapped, but not exactly dead. And with a bandit in hand, he can sure as hell find another one.
Great shot and tap. Renz getting a couple into the body, A77, but Shondex saying hello. Gucci does the same. Really nice as West Virginia are left kind of wanting here. 2v4 position. Ange waiting for the right time to peek around the corner. Heard a couple footsteps though and wants nothing more to do with it. Quick rotate from the rest of the team as well. Mirage is now populated. Ange with a great blind. Catches Gucci. Forces him back once
30
more.
seconds left.
Look at that long form rotate. 3, 2, 1. Around the corner they go. And it'll be the trade out. Gucci makes it difficult. 2v1 though, and look at that long sightline crossfire angle held as Giza is ready to play out. Nice smoke though, and I like that. But of course, Giza is unfazed. That'll be the finish for Maryville as they take the pistol and move to 9.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, looking at this kind of matchup so far, I think we're going to be fitting that kind of same old, just standard layout of the first 3 rounds, with the winner taking the second. Other team coming out with a third, guns swinging in hand. I mean, we saw it during the last half, and I don't really expect anything crazy to be coming out on the side of West Virginia during that round number 3, especially with not much of a bye coming underway in round number 2. Obviously, this is that point where you kind of go for a force, maybe kind of take something out if you really want to throw a curveball in there, but the money will just not allow for it. I mean, when you're looking at Maryville, you got to keep things consistent. You got to be on the same page against everyone. And well, as you can see them kind of buying around, feeling out, they're going to go for some sheriffs, maybe some bandits, whatever the case may be, keeping around that 1,700 to 2,500 range to make sure they're going to have something for the next round, because if you don't, then you are going to be behind like I'll be.
Better watch it behind as well. West Virginia looking to play towards Heaven's side, getting a little bit messy, but Renz is reading that like a book. Currently situated. The judge in hand, and it might be a little bit busy. There's 1, 2. Oh, you missed the shot. Renz unable to get 1. Gucci. Very nice swing there. Now caught between a little bit of a rock and hard place. They'll take the sewers down. Maybe look to pinch once more, but West Virginia making the right call to play together as a unit. Look for this A site.
Beautiful looks there too. Even then, gun already passed off inside that sewers. No, making sure that Gucci has managed that upgrade. Go ahead and pass off whatever money's been kind of invested there on to the next guy. See what you can get here. Just make it a bit of a steamroll. But even then, regardless, Maryville, I mean, can't do much here. Looking towards that middle of the map, looking to kind of maneuver around. Chloric could have the setup of an absolute lifetime. We just have to see whether or not West Virginia end up turning around.
Lord, though, making up for a lot of mistakes from earlier.
Oh,
Hits
John
up with the
Wick.
gun swap. 4K for Chloric. Do it an ace. Do it an ace. You got 24 HP. You can do it. There's the tap, baby. Chloric. Aces out for Maryville. And that's the one you don't see every day.
Most definitely not. The gun swap, like I said, John Wick in the lobby, man. Chloric able to look beautiful. I mean, the guy's been mindingly holding down entire halves of the map by himself anyways. When we saw him on those engages on A at the start of that first half, again and again and again, just winning out those 1v1s, 1v2s, whatever you throw at the guy, making sure that side is free for the taking. Well, wherever you allocate him, he's making sure that he kind of stays consistent at least and manages to find a bit of an outlier there, but in the better half, making sure to take down even more. So good looks there for round number 10 as we reach a checkpoint chokehold kind of situation, which when we're talking about D1, man, I don't really feel like that's a problem that plagues this league.
Ooh. That's very true. But Giza says we're focused on this round specifically. Great shot number 1. Trailblazer goes out. Sight misses one in that left side corner. That might be their doing as Renz gets some revenge with the judge. That they found the 4K on the back end of an ace. That's one way to do it. Renz shows that they can do 11 to Maryville.
There's more guys there. Why? I'm not done shooting yet. Keep on going one by one. Fish in a barrel, baby. Just good looks here. So a beautiful for number 11 on Maryville. And again, I mean, still, West Virginia just not really ready for these players holding these off angles because understandably so, while I've said Maryville are giving that respect to West Virginia, they have earned that. Issue is they've kind of become asleep at the wheel a little bit, which could play into their advantage. But Maryville checking every single one of these corners, holding a lot more of the map. West Virginia just kind of getting a little bit scared in this process. And, I mean, rightfully so. Look at who you're up against. But you have to try to ignore that element of this matchup. Face everybody outright. And when it's Chloric, unfortunately, you just end up losing way too many guys.
There's something illegal with watching Maryville play sometimes, right? 3 rounds in a row, they just wipe the floor. And yes, I understand. It's an anti-eco. It's a bonus. It's whatever. I get it. But it doesn't matter about the guns. It's just watching them play and having these excellent flicks, these beautiful shots, the lineups, the understanding of when to hold your shots if necessary. It's just so much dang fun. And Maryville currently sat at 12, 23 by Chloric, the only one to breach 20. This is immaculate work here as West Virginia will try one last time to chase. A quick dash in by the Waylay. Dinks able to fry Renz where they stand. Gucci answers as well. Double Phantom does that work as the Ghosts take over this lobby side. The back end alert could be dangerous. Shondek's going to try and hold down sight on their own for the moment. Not blinded out. Around the corner to go. Leone gets a crouching shot. Chloric routed by Gucci, who knew that they were going to be there in Maryville. In a strange turn of events, are locked to one alive. Poor Ange needs to ace.
Get you a good read there. Takes one to no one. I would flank there. Well, guess what? That's what they're going to do too. But still, West Virginia managing to hold on to way more players there. 4 to close out that round. Beautiful look for them. Obviously, we see executions like that. We see holds like that every single round. We'd be looking at a different game right now. Issue is that, like I said, the shot calling is so amazing at times, but it's totally different when you're in the attack and defense. You can manage to kind of squeak things around. You can manage to kind of be in these weird situations, and even then, you can understand when to overwhelm your opposition. And, well, it could look like an overwhelming pushover towards the B site where you're going to have a singular player, Renz, holding it down. And, well, if you're looking at the scoreboard and you're kind of setting your confidence levels based on how many kills and how many deaths each guy has, that could be your best bet. Issue is, well, Maryville while they're aware of what's going on, West Virginia very much isn't. Dinks, again, trying to kick things off, trying to be right there in the get-go, maybe find 1-2, but just has not done that on this half finish. He's gone from positive to negative now, but with the resurrection in play, I could very much see West Virginia and A77 going ahead, getting him back into the play, seeing what he can manage when he has one more shot, and especially as a showstopper to at least kind of hopefully guarantee one for the squad.
Let's see if they can do so right now. That's the corner. Giza swings around, catches one on that sewer line. Not a fun spot to be in. It's not containment. Giza is just going skeet shooting though. Double swing is able to make it happen.
Yeah.
But West Virginia lose 2 in the process. That's not exactly what you like to see. Quick blind there and short range
There it
team.
is.
Get right in position. There's the cross that you want. Dinks with the showstopper, but Shondex unperturbed. And it's done. Delange closes out with 2K. Maryville take map 1.
Curtains closing. Shop's wrapping up, man. Lights are turning off. We're going ahead, making sure all those shelves are stocked for tomorrow. But still, you can't go ahead and flip that sign over just yet because, well, I mean, obviously West Virginia, not the best showing on that first map. I mean, a 13-5 by the end of it. Good looks for him. I mean, able to go and hold things down. The first half is where I really felt like we saw some spectacular calling coming through. So them really kind of getting to form, holding that thing down because, as I said, double duelists. I'm thinking, okay, Maryville, this is the time when they're just kind of really going to be pushing the W button, and Dinks kind of said, hey, hold up. You got to show the respect where it's due. We're still West Virginia at the end of the day. And unfortunately, during that second half, they said, wait, who are you? And right back to form, just again, running that gauntlet, meeting him in the middle of the map where effectively what it felt like, I think the majority of those rounds, if we go back, Dinks was the first death again and again, where he wasn't even in a first blood situation on those retakes, keep in mind. He was coming through kind of playing janitor there, sweeping up whatever excess damage is necessary, which Array should be doing. Lots of AoE, blast pack, paint cans, whatever the case may be. Obviously, a lot of good splash damage to kind of finish those shots have already been made. But in terms of kind of really getting in there, if he's not holding that angle, he sure as heck ain't pushing is what we can see so far. And, well, good for them. If this is map number 1, map number 2 of Bind, that wouldn't have looked too good for them. Instead, we're going over to Corrode, so it's going to be a little more slow and steady, a lot more angles to hold, which could possibly, if Dinks isn't too beat up about this last map, he could be in literally any one of those and maybe find 3.
Yeah, and that's a terrifying factor. Maryville, they have to respect the Dinks and respect the output that West Virginia can give another squad that will be making it to the playoffs, whether they like it or not. It just depends if they're in 4th or 5th seed. We'll go to a short break, though, and when we come back, it'll be Maryville and West Virginia once more to see if this will be a 2-game or a 3-game series. Don't go anywhere. Div 1 Valorant. We'll be back in just a bit.
Go pick your type, don't think, just fall in line. What's the point of living life if it ain't even mine? All the best things I know sit in the void. It makes me wanna scream, and I'm something else. I don't care who I'm meant to be, 'cause I'm someone else. This is what happens between Tell me when you love. Yeah, she's a looker, my only fascination. So come on over. She has me levitating. Yeah. Come here, you love. Come here, you love. Tell me when you love. Could it be me? Be your fantasy. Tell me when you love. Could it be me? Be your fantasy. Tell me when you We're undercovers, and I'm not contemplating. So are we lovers? The question you're evading. Yeah. Come here, you love. Come here, you love. Tell me when you love. Could it be me? Be your fantasy. Tell me when you love. Could it be me? Be your fantasy. Tell me when you love. Tell me when you love. Tell me when you love. Could it be me? Be your fantasy. Tell me when you love. Could it be me? Be your fantasy. Your vision when I get my dodges dropped. Can't catch my breath. The sand in the hourglass has stopped. You light up my world in ways I can't explain. Your electricity's running through my veins. Oh, baby, I can't help it. I've never felt like this. Only you can do what you do. Only you give me that deja vu.
Time to go for map number 2. Maryville did pretty good work on map number 1. West Virginia did not go down without a fight, but that ace to 4K was a whole different story in there, and it just kind of hurts to end a map like that. But for Maryville, it's all eyes to the skies as they look to corrode to close things out.
Yeah, definitely a little more convoluted of a map. Not as simple, not as small. Definitely a lot more kind of, like I said, space to go ahead and exercise a playbook to a degree. And obviously the place where Leone, I feel like, has been kind of having to really flex his brain to a degree, considering how many maps we have seen or how many instances of corrode we have gotten over the course of the split. I mean, it is again and again and again. This feels like the new Ascent, feels like the new Lotus from what we saw last split. Just these teams are really eating this thing up. So curious to see whether or not this is a map where we see kind of the play calls and the kind of stationary looks of West Virginia look that much stronger, because Maryville, I could sing their praises all day and talk about how well they're doing, but I mean, that's something that you all already know. I mean, I'm going to this is just a ridiculous conversation to be having. So West Virginia being the topic here, I think once more that, I mean, looking at their defense during split, phenomenal. I mean, quite frankly, really good, all things considered. It's just on the attacking side, they couldn't really get into form there. So I would like to see if there's any way, obviously, with more access to side, I feel, in Kuro compared to split, if they can utilize all those angles a little bit more and take advantage of the numbers they get.
Yeah, we're taking a look here at the agents. That's Wele, Sova, Astra, Chamber. These are all things that we kind of expected, I will say. For West Virginia, going almost the exact same. We got a Sage rolling on out on that flip, so A77 sticking with that agent, always having that revive, but only a Neon to fight against the Wele. That'll be a difference of the duelists at the end of the day.
Yeah, one of those kind of another instance where we see that, again, we're kind of getting right back into the same old. We're right back into form, obviously, on the side of Maryville, not wanting to run that double duelist like we saw prior. Again, surprised not to see the Clove come out on the side of Maryville, but understandably so. I think after that last map, they kind of have a grasp of what's going on the side of West Virginia and don't want to go two balls to the walls when it comes down to really just kind of getting those gunfights, healing things up, and going crazy and ballistic. But I think with that, I'd be excited to see what Dinks can manage on the Neon instead of the Rays, because it doesn't have that same kind of AoE. Keep in mind, we saw 2 clutches come through from him, having that utility at his disposal. Meanwhile, Neon feels a lot more vanilla, where you actually are engaging and you're using your body rather than utility, and your obviously utility belt is kind of give you more of an instance to open up those opportunities, which may be exactly what the team need, because keep in mind, their attack over on split wasn't too hot, didn't have too many distractions, didn't have too much to kind of really get in there and loot that attention. So I think the Wele, though, usually does a better job of that, being able to recall, being able to get that information really quick, take those shots and get out. So it'll be interesting to see what we can get out of West Virginia, whether they can make the most of this.
Yeah, we saw for a moment Fracture flashing across our screen. That was not it. Not at all. That was, you know, we like to make jokes around here in Div 1, but that is not one of them. So it is going to be Corrode at the end of the day. Eyes out for the exact plays that they do want to make here. Couple ghosts, obviously. Good little setup, but as we mentioned, Maryville on that defensive end to start. Let's see what they decide to play. It's a default. 2 over towards B, Chamber over towards A, and that'll be a look to play. Cloric stepping in with the rest of the squad, though. Mid converged upon. And with 2 sectioned off, it's all about that first contact. Who will find what? Possible 4 members of West Virginia going to be reaching in to that mid bank. Over to Prowler, not given too much information. That smoke to deny. Renz pops out of the corner, though. Immediately has to dash on back. Does not want more, but Dinks Red Renz stopped on that TP post.
Good start.
It's Maryville to lose that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you need here. Just first bloods, not first stats in Virginia. Kicking things off pretty hot, finding one that no other than Dinks to do it. And on the attacking side, that's a bit of a confidence booster here to kick things off. Obviously, a pistol round being one would be a much bigger one for the rest of the squad, knowing they all pitching in some form or fashion. So a nice little haunt towards the middle of the map. They could be waiting out for that thing to kind of come into play once more. Instead, opting in for the C's this time, seeing if there's any kind of tendril sticking out from that. Instead, Giza with the header swapping out, and still Shondex and Cloric coming in, snapping and knocking down any players on site. Somebody's got to be remaining, right? Somebody's got to be behind them, playing with these guys. And, well, they're right back towards those arches, y'all. Go ahead and get them. And, well, they've done exactly that for round number 1 on the board.
Clean stuff once more. Maryville just rooting out the rest of West Virginia, and that allows them to buy on up. We got a Guardian buyout for Shondex, who was able to take 2 plus an assist. 2 for Cloric as well, depending on what you want to spend your money on, or are you going to save? And it looks like a save might be in the process as well. Double shot for Giza, and then a Judge Inspector to round out. 0 buys for the West Virginia squad, which obviously makes a lot of sense. You're only able to take 2 kills. So, no other dice. It might be a full sprint down this mid line, though. You are going to be challenged in every which way. Quick eyes out. Excite rushes on through. Renz was ready with that. Spectre takes 2. Leone takes a fight real quick back. But Ange ready with that leap. 1, 2, straight to A77. Looks left, does the other 2. And Leone's gone and down for the count. Last one alive is for Excite, who will make it spicy and very exciting as well. But on 11 HP, you just need to get shot in the arm and you are done. Maryville, clean up the second.
Yeah, 11 HP, no headhunter, kind of like, that hurts for a chamber. I don't want to be in a classic ever. because even then he still nailed that dink. It looked like through that wall around the corner. He could have found maybe another kill if that was a headhunter shot, but unfortunately it wasn't. So didn't really do much considering the range, penetration, too many factors there. Just make sure that kill didn't come in her way. And headhunter is always the solution for every Chambers problem. So see how things are going here. Kicking things off 2-0 once more for the side of Maryville. These pistol rounds have been not flawless in terms of how many players are still available, but they are 3 for 3 in them thus far. So it's good looks for making sure to kind of get these early round leads where they can manage to kind of go ahead and get themselves in a pretty substantial lead once more. But shots coming through. Excite trying to close up that first kill. Doesn't nearly find it. Just a little bit of damage. And, well, that's just a bit of a ruse because they're not even moving up towards the middle of the map. They're not aiming for that A site. They're looking to see if they could go B, at least for a second. But Gucci's going to go ahead and evacuate out, maybe find a kill. Doesn't. And Shondex, like I said, duelist. The D stands for duelist, but also stands for distraction. And, well, that's exactly what he does.
I mean, you ever seen a clear-cut case of keep your eyes on the prize? That was it right there. Really, really well done with the distraction tool. Chloric now trying to do the same as the electric wall goes up and dinks the alleyway. Not going to be their main source of entry. Instead, they curve over to connector. A site might be that hit, but to get there cleanly is a whole other story. Quick look as that snapshot twice. Giza unfortunately misses out there. Down the line, though. You take 2 domes before falling. Leone get some revenge there, but it's a 4v2, and I don't think A77 or more like these options. Nice little wall to slow them down. Another star to try and draw their attention. Maryville, though, I mean, you got Ange off on the wings, and one more body will not make a difference. There it is. Tap to the dome. Ange rips one. A77 now looking around the corner. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone in that way. Renz finishes it off. Maryville, 3 in a row.
Yeah, not really the hottest start here out of West Virginia. We've seen the answer come through for him, at least on the prior map on both sides of the field, but not really kicking things off too well on this one as they are looking at the first 3 of this series so far. So not good looks, knowing that obviously this is Maryville's selection. We're expecting things kind of going their way, but I mean, it's just not really the best look knowing that, well, you want to still fight back. You still want to have, an answer to pitch in, something to retort with. And, well, that round was not it because, well, that's when you had the guns. And this one, you also are kind of looking at guns, but not really because you're right back to sheriffs once more. And, well, if you can't manage to win these fights with those longer range guns in hand, then what are you going to do with these sheriffs? You're going to hold angles. Oh, wait. You're not on defense, so that's not an option either. You got to bring the fight to them, and you got to make sure they're close and snappy.
How snappy can you be? Pretty dang good. Dinks, not snappy enough though. Hindered out of that firefight, which allows Renz and Giza to take complete control over that V main side. Not where you like to be at all. If you are the side of West Virginia, you left space in the mid as well, which allows Giza to pressure on up. Took one body there and is about to take yet another. However, the smoke is able to cover up that vision point, which means Giza swaps over to that headhunter. Just waiting for the right opportunity to use it. Has already swung on 2. Scanned out by 1. Great job by Chloric. But Giza barrel stuffs Gucci and then sends Stinks to the grave. Shondex covers her back, and it's a flawless for Maryville yet again.
Yeah, understandably so. Just not enough players thrown in the initial skirmish to maybe get one out of it. So just too many things again and again and again where it's just rough reckonings here for West Virginia. I mean, trying to get on site, man, is one problem. But, I mean, knowing that Maryville, like I mentioned, they like to respect a lot of teams, but you have to get to a point where you have earned that. And they did it during split. But here, kicking things off with the 3-0, it makes things more and more difficult as, like, this kind of game goes along where you see that, I mean, this entire steamroll, this snowball effect of rounds starts going their way. Maryville are going to care less and less, and that's when the game really gets out of control. When they feel like they are definitively better than you, they will make sure of that, and they will make sure that you feel that they know that.
100%. That's why they're doing so. Chloric with the first blood. However, A77 fights back. Spike drop, though, as A77 lose their life. Now they wait for the rest of the team. Gucci with a great push, though. No worries about their own safety. Instead, catches an unaware Sova. Poor Maryville caught off guard and now in a 2v3. You don't like those odds, but with the 2 to 4, it's an easy way to level the playing field.
Most definitely. I mean, good looks to kind of go ahead and find these trades. You're keeping things close. You're keeping things relevant, but you're keeping things interesting with the nightfall being thrown at that B side. Probably unaware of the player wrapping around you as you're going to be pressing W. Giza's pressing D, and well runs lineup there to find that tour de force shot to the back. Find round number 5 for Maryville and put West Virginia once again in a situation where they're right back on an eco, trying to manage something here.
I mean, perfect information gathering just as well. You saw Giza slow walk their way through mid-top and said, hey, I got a good idea of what's going on here. I know where they're currently at. We're going to back you up. And for Shondex, just smart play. I mean, yes, gun duel out even when you're decaying and even though you're tagged out. No big deal. You walk backwards. You trust your teammate. You instead hold down through B main and it's an easy takeaway. Looking at this next, Maryville continuing on their rush, but for West Virginia, a little bit of a buy up. Giza says it don't matter. Dinks, you gotta fire first if you want to use the gun that you buy. And Dinks said, I know, you're just a little bit too quick on that trigger pull as well. Leone waiting off on the wings. Good smoke by the Astro to deny. But it's only for a moment, which still allows Leone to pick up 1 frag and 3 frags on the opposite side. So it's still a 4v3 at the end of the day.
Well, one player not really looking too good at a caloric, just barely being alive in this process, but still, Shondex hoping to use him as a bit of a distraction. And while it's good for the first, the second, he didn't follow up there with you, buddy. He wasn't throwing his life that much on the line, but he still managed to have the number advantage by the end of this. Well, expectedly. A77 has a resurrection in hand, can get somebody back into play here, but, I mean, understandably so, you're not going to be doing that, man. You got an operator around the corner, you got a gun, you got a pickup and a spike next to it, and you just can't manage any of it, unfortunately. That's a 3K on the board for Giza. That's a 6th round to play with for Maryville, and a guaranteed even half if their keyboards and mice stop working.
I do love that line from you. It's a good one. Just like, yeah, they're on fire. The only way is their own models don't even move. Like, that's fair. And I think at this time, remember, terms for West Virginia in map number 1 took it at round 4, I believe, is when they took their timeout. This one's vastly different. You're in the whole 4-6, haven't gotten a single thing in your favor. It's taking a little bit of time for this timeout to come about, and I do wonder what they're talking about.
I think, honestly, just talk about these approaches, man. I mean, we're not seeing too many skirmishes occur during the middle of the map. That's where you see that singular ping go through there to kind of kick things off. But it's just a matter of, like, West Virginia is still just flaking on a lot of these sites, not really executing with confidence is a big thing here. So you're investing a lot of utility going one place, or at least trying to go ahead and, search out these sites initially, as we saw in these prior couple rounds. Filling out B a little bit right there towards that elbow where a player is usually hanging out, making your life hell. Even towards A, see players pushing up towards that kind of main elbow there, and even sometimes even towards that kind of connector. But at the middle of the map, I mean, now with the operator in play, can you figure out whether or not a player is there or whether they're allocated somewhere else? And well, for us, we know it's over towards B. They don't know it's not in mid. And even then, with that, they think if they can use numbers, close out that gap, provide enough distractions out of Dinks, thank you, they can get another first blood to work with.
I mean, that's as clean as you can get. Excite doing the exact same here with an operator play down A main. Solid stuff to lock away your A site attack.
Yeah, easy call.
Yeah, but for Maryville, we've seen them pull stuff out of their back pocket before. Even with nothing, even with just a little bit of lint. They can pull off a MacGyver and take a round back. This one might be a little bit more difficult for their own, though.
Yes, dude.
Nice slow. Shondex. Just kind of waiting for the smoke to go down. Puts the smoke down of their own, or at least a little bit of poison in the back corner. Look at this weight once more. I mean, just straight up. The Sova hiding on the outside angle. Gucci, of course, not making too big of a move as Dinks is waiting with that cross. Phantom and hand. Will work though as Gucci eliminates Giza from the battlefield with 2 left alive. You almost might want to save, but no, you'll take your chances. Cloric steps on out, looks for a body, tries to tap, unfortunately blinded out. A little bit shell shocked, which will leave you closed out. You take one to the grave, but that's it for alive for West Virginia.
I knew it was going to be good for 2 there, but Spray just kind of goes a little bit too far left, too far right. You get a wall, you get open air, but you don't have a player there. Good looks though from West Virginia. I mean, again, still off the round of a successful one. able to get themselves on the board. Beautiful. I mean, didn't really invest too much to get there. Found that first blood, found the second one. That facilitates way too easy of a call for West Virginia to go ahead and press W over towards that A side. But that's not going to happen every single round, because even in the post plant, we saw it there. A lot of teams like to contest a lot of these angles, feel out those crates, hold in these little hidey holes, get yourself into situations where you're like, where are these guys at? But instead, right here, unfortunately, Dinks can't do that, as I mentioned. You're not going to replicate that success every single round. And, well, they're also not going to give you that same respect holding back as they usually do. But a good exchange occurs, a bit of a scuffle over here towards the B side. But while Renz is pushing out, A77 finds a beautiful dink to the head and opens up B to make that easy call once more. But it's a difference of 2 players they're towards that B main compared to in the middle of the map. So you're risking maybe that player holding middle. Seeing Giza with that operator early, if you don't swing the shack, you should be fine. But they don't want anything to do with the side at all. This should be a prime point for Gucci to kind of at least just shadow step in and bypass all of this.
Well, with the double smokes, it actually gives time for Giza to step on in and play, but there's that wall to deny. You haven't really given too much, but you knew someone was rounding that corner. Quick snap of 1. Plant is down. Teammates on the way. So Maryville, what magic can they pull here? Once again, they lost some of the openers, but Giza can do so much more. Tethered and marked. Teammates on your backside. Will it work? Hunter's Fury being called out. Very nice snap 1. Snap 2 doesn't really get much damage. Straight to the body of Leone, but it's not the finish at all. Oh, and I like it. Drop that Cosmic Divide, but it's in a weird angle, and Ange says, that's freedom for me. Leone and Excite, though, take apart the opponents. And in a 1v2, Chloric is going to try and make it happen, but you jump a little too high, and Excite sees ahead. Great shot, uppercut to finish. That'll be West Virginia on 2.
Yeah, sitting at a third of the score, what we're seeing out of Maryville. I mean, obviously, looking at the start, 6-0, so you will take anything at this point in time. And if we could see maybe West Virginia continue this momentum, get themselves a third, I mean, that's all you really need for a half. 9-3, not the worst case scenario. I mean, 10-2 is usually when you're saying, oh, God, this is ugly. But, I mean, hey, they've at least managed that. They can find a little bit more. I truly believe they can. And especially if they end up winning this round, they're going to put Maryville in an eco situation to maybe find themselves 4, which is what they ended that first half with over on Split. So, and that's on Maryville's Pat pick now. So that would be a beautiful look for them. Issue with that is they still have to work through this one. This is where the investment comes through. I truly believe the Tour de Force is going to do much for you here, considering you already have a gun. But the Resurrection, the From the Shadows, you got to find a way to utilize these here. And not having a first blood there makes your job a little more precarious.
I feel they've also diverted away from what made them such a major success before, which is once you know someone's around that corner from Maryville's side, you just kind of go ham. You pressure in with 2 or 3, and you just kind of overwhelm with firepower because Maryville aren't always willing to apply 2 to 3 on the same site. They're more likely going to try in that one-man defense just to get info instead. They take the time over on A main. Now they chance through mid. This is a good call. They're going to rush on forward just like they did before. Now they're going to try and hold it down. Good slow as they push towards mid-top. Shondex, are you going to flush out of the corner this time? Good bounce information. Giza rips Dinks the new one, but that's what you want. There's that resurrection that you talked about. Giza with another ripper, but that's technically a 1 for 2 at the end of the day. Maryville lose out in that trade position. Well done. There's West Virginia 4v3 on this retake.
Yeah, I mean, even then, you can see from the likes of West Virginia. I mean, so many players, even then, station up a little more aggressively. This is what I love to see. Get proactive, man. Get in there. Let Maryville know they can't take this game for free. They can't run around this map willy-nilly. Let them know that they have to respect you. While Renz does find a singular here on the retake, and now a second. He's keeping the numbers close, but Leone's right underneath him. The read is there. Good night. Does the recall come through there from Renz? Does he know that somebody's behind? And hearing those shots, hearing the feet drop, it's light-footed from Gucci, and another kill to his name, and another round on the board for West Virginia. Great looks from them, while very, very close, very tight out of them, managed nonetheless. And as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be a bit of an eco here for Maryville, so it should be another round that looks pretty darn neat for West Virginia, so long as they just keep it locked in.
I mean, and I give credit, West Virginia, I kind of called them out saying, where's that speed that we wanted before? Well, they showed it in mid, right? They varied the pace, which I really do like, and As you said, yeah, this is going to be a little bit more bargain bin. Now, there are 2 Vandals for Shondex and Renz. These 2 can be powerful in its own. Tuda Force is ready to go as well, so technically 3 weapons. Ange, though, is the one with the lower equipment output. That Stinger cannot do much. However, that corner pocket ain't going to be your savior. Renz, though, with the hero rifle, gathers 2 for their own. Might look for a 3rd. Leone ducks just in time. But that's still a 3 for 3 at the end of the day. Not exactly where West Virginia wanted to be. That's around that corner. Excite wins the op duel. Things are now in their favor. Will it be dicey, though, or will they maintain 3 throughout the remainder of this round?
It's a big old question mark. I think Maryville having a bit of an eco. I mean, yikes, nailing that with the sheriff definitely opened something up. I mean, there is only 1 or 2 players who could afford a rifle in this last round, and well, they made work with it, brother. Good looks for Maryville. Another round of the board when more than half the team couldn't buy there, but they still managed to squeak it out, get themselves another guarantee and advantage at the end of the half. You know, much better, obviously, than even, because at this point in stage, when you're past that quarter of the map, you're looking at a difference of 2 rather than a difference of 1, kind of going back and forth here. So regardless, Maryville could be setting up for an 8-4. They could be setting up for a 9-3, but West Virginia obviously wanting to close that gap and make sure that it only stays at 2.
I mean, if they can, that's great.
You want to play? Let's
There's a 2 with
play.
Force being called down. West Virginia going to try and pull the same shenanigans. 7 rounds stopped by the Viper wall. Excite having some good intel that they can push up pretty dang far. There's a stairwell, and Excite, man, that's now 3 for 3, I think, in the op duel situation. Giza has just not been winning these out. That should give Excite a lot to work with here, with the other op down Maryville stuck in this position where they got to play a little bit more mid-range and without that info in the mid.
Oh, slow and steady here, right through the A main, into the hands of Chloric. Meanwhile, sure, he's on a different role this time around, was very efficient in finding the necessary kills, and at least gets 1 there in the process, but not a very important one, thankfully, for West Virginia there. But numbers still just evening out here, 1 by 1, pick them off. Shondex for another. We see that finally Gucci can trade that out, but are they going to check their corners? And even then, are they going to check anything? Because quite frankly, rightfully so, they are scared to push to side, wait for them from the shadows, get the information, have an idea of where the player could be, and well, 1 by 1, just going to really push in. Slow and steady. Check everything. Because Renz is low. It's got to be a free shot onto him, and that's exactly what the outcome is.
But now, Ange has now entered the chat as well. And he looked the wrong way, so Gucci closes it out. I was worried that they were going to be caught unawares, but that's West Virginia. Clean stuff here. They play it just for a little bit of fun as they're sitting on a 7-4 spot. Nearly 0 ultimates will be here in play. Dinks might get one if you pick an orb plus kill. The only one that matters for West Virginia is that resurrection. But you talked about econ before, Mick, and Maryville right back in that bargain bin position. Giza with the op can do some work, but it's a Bucky. It's Stinger's out for Chloric and Ange, and it's a share for Renz. These are not optimal to try and push towards an 8th.
Yeah, just a little awkward here of a situation for Maryville once more. I mean, again, West Virginia, some of these rounds just work out for them. And you're thinking, why can't we do that more consistently? I mean, even then, Maryville won an eco 2 rounds prior. You look at West Virginia trying to go ahead and make themselves relevant again, and they do it. Just that grit, that determination has to really be in play every single round. And, well, while they're not giving things up for free in this round so far, well, it shows at least a bit of an idea that they do want it. And I believe they can get it. Owl Drone going ahead, giving a bit of information towards that A site, letting you know that at least a player is there. And, well, if he's swinging out first, it's a chamber, keep in mind. So the info for the call and the rotate has not come through yet because it could be a singular guy trying to anchor, watch a flank. But nothing else has been called just yet still. So with this W key being pressed by Dinks and the kill being made there, you may still say, hey, honestly, we don't need the reinforcements. Ange manages us 2, and we'll have an upgrade as well. And the resurrection going through from A77, you can tell now, yeah, get your ears over here. They want it.
How fast will the rears move, though, is a whole separate question. They are slowly moving, but for West Virginia, the meeting of the minds might be in through mid. Shondex with a single ghost gains all the information in the world, takes shots, and long range is able to snipe 1. Gives Renz the opportunity to rip away another, and ain't no way Maryville being annoying in so many ways with only 8 seconds left. The timer has wound down. The plant will go in time, but you lost all your reinforcements. Quick walk through. Renz took a little bit of time, had a knife out, and then swapped over to the sheriff. It's a done deal. Maryville, 8-4. PTSD a little bit from map 1.
Hey, but I mean, this different map, different playground, and keep in mind, West Virginia, they did the same thing on the defense in the map prior. So, I mean, if they can manage that score line at least kind of pertaining to the half rather than the map, well, then we should be good. That means they did better than the previous map, obviously, on the opposite side of the field. So having a bit of a better idea of what they can manage here inside of Corrode, possibly if they do end up hitting those shots. So, well, I mean, Excite had not a spectacular first half, but being that chamber, he's looking like he's at least kind of warmed up to a degree. In Gucci, this is when he starts to excel. When he gets in that kind of medium range, once he starts going to hit that snowball effect, when any smoke pops up, he sprays through those things and finds kills. But that's not going to happen in a round like this, at least at the start, because there is nobody present on B to match up against him.
See how that works. Giza, strong opening pick as the drone just flies on by. Maybe that's not what they were expecting, but it's one that they will get at the end of the day. Renz reloads, but here's Shondex take one for their own. Really wants in on the action. Poor Renz is just walking around like, guys, I want in on the action. Leone's like, you don't want action? I don't want action. I want to live. I want to get a kill myself. Let's see if they can do so. As Shondex says, no thank you. You are gone. Poor Fade will fade from existence. A little bit of a blind as the chamber has to reload and then just straight up taps Gucci's head. It's a flawless round for Maryville as they open up with that strong pistol.
Yeah, good looks. I mean, once again, obviously Maryville, if this series does end on a 2-mapper, we're going to see the 4-for-4 on the pistol rounds. And that last half, we saw what that managed to become. 6 in a row out of them. So that's not going to look good if you let that spree continue once more. You can't even hit that 6-round threshold this time. You're going to be looking at double digits at the end of this one before you can even manage to get guns inside of your hands because, well, you're looking at nothing but classics right now. And West Virginia, that's saying, hey, guys, you're going to play 8 darn near flawlessly. And some of those rounds are going to be easier than others, but not exactly flawless, to say the least. So Excite, make sure to kind of at least have an answer for the time being. Could swap things up, could go 1-for-1 if that Headhunter continues to really make it just a job and a done deal out of some of these Maryville players.
West Virginia calling home. Snapshot, Excite. Try to drain some damage, but there's only so many shots you can get. Shondex. Guardian saves their teammate. Renz does the same. Shondex wants another, though. Might hear one across the way. Good ping, but checks. And Dings gets the one behind, but not Shondex themselves. Poor Renz is like, really? That's how we're going to play this game. 3K, Shondex. Clean with that Windex shot. Wipes away the opponents. It's all down to Gucci, who I don't think wants to try and play this one. Smoke out. Just to try and cover the backside, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Where do you go from here with the classic? Right into the waiting arms of the opponents. Peek around the side. Clark finishes it off, and that's to Maryville. Double digits.
Holding on to the majority of those guns brought in for the round prior. I mean, good looks there here for Maryville, at least contending in a round like this. Knowing you have the Vandal, a Phantom, the Guardian being one thing, but I mean, Shondex has proved very much worthy to kind of really meet anybody in any weapon with that weapon in hand. I mean, I've always talked about the Guardian. I've always loved the Guardian and favorite gun in the game in terms of value and potential because it has the same one-shot headshot capabilities of the Vandal, but has a better first shot accuracy. And if you're nailing those shots, if you're feeling hot on the mouse, and in that case, it's going to do better than one because that means more money to share with your team, man, for the ones that can't hit shots like that. So good looks here to kick things off, at least on the half, but not really looking too good for where on the health pool, at least for Maryville's. We do see an exchange go through, but you see right there, Astra not looking too healthy. You got to see what West Virginia is going to give you, and I thankfully am not seeing them push out towards this middle, letting Renz have another for free.
I love that Renz got a little bit surprised by A77 as well. Was like, oh, that's where you're at. I'm so sorry, everyone. That'll be the kill that they want, though, in Maryville. Will stack on up. Ange takes a piece, even with low HP. It's one for their own scoreboard as well. West Virginia with 2 left alive. Ain't singing any songs here. Just trying to figure out how they're going to break on the site, or will they save their weapons? It's Maryville in full control here on the attacking side of Corrode, as they're looking to seal away the deal of this map and of this series. Gucci, great shot, ensures yet another chance. One more through the alleyway. Can they find the electric style? They do, but only for a moment as Shondex Closes out with a 3K. You went right past go. You didn't collect.
Yeah, second 3K in a row for Shondex. Like I said, I mean, still having nothing but a Guardian in hand, showing that even then these rifles in play don't really mean much to him. Sitting at now round 11 on the board for Maryville. I mean, looking at map point at the end of this, if they end up closing it out and seeing the weapons on the side of West Virginia, we're going to have to see a massive clutch come through. We're going to have to see a big spree come out, and that's another thing. Dinks hasn't really come online for this map just yet. Bottom of the scoreboard, we saw it on his attacking side for split. Defense was where he really kind of turned it up, but issue is this map is not split. He's not in these scenarios. He doesn't have that same kind of utility. He has to face the players like A77 off Rift, and well, has not managed to find those kills just yet. So with a nice little paranoia going through and a little slide out as well, you at least manage one. That's a gun picked up. Congratulations, West Virginia. But you got two more guys that are still straggling here. And, well, you got four guys in Maryville swarming this B-side.
Well, Excite says swarm all you like. Sometimes I got precision on my side. Gets another tap. But Ange is able to survive, which means you will lose your life. Excite tried to make some space, but Giza knew the corner to look at. Looks again to the other side. Dinks tried to take a shot, misses on the back end. Now you're facing yet another snipe. Giza said, I don't need a scope, I just need line of sight. 3K for Maryville as they're on series point.
Match point.
12-4. We can see a bit of a beating here, and even in a worse score lineup for the likes of West Virginia, considering the last one, the split ended at a 13-5, but maybe they could go ahead and make a bit of a run here. I mean, Excite having that operator in hand, at least they have a rally. At least they have a chance during the final round, theoretically here, out of them. But Maryville have a Viper's Pit, so if they at least get into a post-plant scenario and Excite isn't there to be a part of that scuffle, then, well, it's not really going to matter much, because what's an operator going to do inside of all that gas? So see if they can maybe find an initial blood, and there it is, kicking things off. Beautiful work from Excite, already dumbing down those numbers into a 5v4, and maybe Dinks could line one up to make it 3. Maryville continuing to be kind of pushed somewhere else in the map because, well, obviously this middle isn't working out too well for them.
Gotta agree with you on that front. And again, Giza has been one to watch for, but this time needed to win outside of facing down Excite in the op 1v1. It's a great challenge back. West Virginia lose 2 as well. Here comes that Viper's Pit that we mentioned, though, locking off back of sight. Not what you like to see if you're West Virginia. That was going to be your entryway into this battlefield. So your main hope is that Neon riding off the A corridors. This is place to be for sight. Let's see what they can do. Shondex holding down with that Phantom. Waiting off in a corner. Here's a couple walking footsteps. There's a jump. Giza.
Oh,
I don't think you like that one. Shondex still waiting in that smoke. It's a firefight outside. It's only for a moment. Shondex down at 5 HP. They're still biding their time. Giza tries to peek around the corner. Dinks is done with the shenanigans. That's the win that you want. And now they got to push West Virginia. Time is ticking down. Cloric, what a shot. Drops Excite with a shock bolt. And now the Hunter's Fury. They've done it. Maryville close out in style. There's only so much that you can do here.
Come on, please.
Leone, though, wants their moments. Shondex stops the defusal. And Dinks ends it with a 4K. But it's a bittersweet ending as Maryville wins this series.
Understandably so. Last round possibility there. Go ahead, play time, guys. Money doesn't matter when the game's over, and, well, they execute that near perfectly. Beautiful looks of all the utility there. Having that backup, having those kind of just reinforcements, like layers, like an onion there for that post plant. Well, the Viper's Pit obviously being one layer in its own right that doesn't require a player to be present. So finishing things off in a bit of a score differential. Obviously, it was Maryville's pick there for that second one, so they should have done a little bit better. And they did exactly that, only by a margin of 1, but still nonetheless, 1 in general. So you have to be happy with that. Good looks out of them. And even then, still, West Virginia, credit where it's due. I mean, I always like to say, as many rounds as you get against Maryville for any of these teams in the league, it should amount to at least double against every other squad. So that's good saying for them against next week in Ohio State, but at least for right here, right now, knowing that playoffs is just around the corner, 2 weeks out, it's going to be a rough one once more if they don't kind of iron themselves out a little more.
Yep, we'll see what they can pull off now. At the same time, for Maryville, this keeps the status quo that we've been wanting all the way to week number 7. Undefeated versus undefeated will be the call down to watch for next week. With that being said, though, we want to dive into their minds. We've seen and talked to Maryville quite a time before, but this time around we'll do it yet again. So we'll get an interview with at least one of the players here on the day to take a look at how they thought that series went and to see if they're looking forward to the rest of the postseason as well. Don't go anywhere. Division 1 Valorant will be back in just a bit.
But don't let it talk, only the text. And each time they give up on each other, go next. People don't let it talk, only the text. Many times they give up on each other, go next. Fear being cast out, not that complex. We only need to realize and need a body back for us and not build a barrier around ourselves. Same ideology for riding many tracks. Give one point that would say otherwise. It's only in a discipline and not a bigger price. So when I touch you, you cry on my shoulder. This might be the biggest showdown in my soul. Not trying to pull ya, but all these ideas in my head are getting me to falter. Oh, you sending me a big paragraph and complaints I made when I left her red fair and square. Yeah, I guess I'm alright now. Drenching my mind in the alcohol and everything is blessed. And each time they give up on each other, go next.
All my energy is played with my time and the energy. If you don't like the way I think, don't need to be the love of me. Try to fix my mind and the habits should be using me. All are in the way I say, cause I know that you embellish me. Tripping on my love, but I don't feel the same way. I'm sorry, baby, go ahead and kill me. You ripped out all the segments of my soul, cause you need me. With that, I'm still here distracted by the station.
You cry on my shoulder. This might be the biggest showdown in my soul. Not trying to pull ya, but all these ideas in my head are getting me to falter. Oh, you sending me a big paragraph and complaints I made when I left her red fair and square. Yeah, I guess I'm alright now. Drenching my mind in the alcohol and everything is blessed.
Once more here with a little bit of fun, we get to interview one of the Maryville roster members, one that was able to make sure that there were some very nice walls down and about. We're going to be talking to Ange here very quickly. Ange, welcome into the desk.
How's it going, guys?
A lot of you have been on the desk here, so of course we wanted to give you your due rewards. Welcome to the desk. Congratulations on the victory. How are you guys feeling keeping that undefeated record going?
Appreciate it. Feels good. We love to, show up in these matches and play our game, get them done quickly. We're a strong team, so it's good to show that when we get into these matches.
Yeah, I mean, see the way you guys have obviously been kind of running the gauntlet here out of everybody in the season, and knowing that you guys essentially reached the pinnacle of the matches next week against Winthrop, and that's going to be one thing to obviously watch. I won't be casting that one. That'll be a Monday thing, so this is going to be my probable last time to talk to y'all before the regular season. So with that being said, going into this playoff section, going in knowing you guys are going to have that #1 seed, kind of how things are rolling at the moment, do you feel like that bye week, just more of a question to the squad, does that bye week always kind of feel nice to get a break, or do y'all feel like y'all really want to get in there and kind of keep those games running and stay warm?
So I'm thinking we got spring break coming up for that bye week, so I think we're going to take at least a few days to kind of relax and kind of recoup, and then right before playoffs, we're going to get right back into it, hone down our map pool, kind of get some new stuff going. So it's not, I think we've had an issue with like VODs being too easy to read so far. So we're going to come up with some new stuff, and we're going to, look to be better.
Like to hear y'all are cooking. And as a follow-up, even then, still more so on the respect of y'all's opponent here today out of West Virginia, a team that we feel like was going to be a dark horse last season. I mean, especially when they had their old IGL and Ox, and then even then Gucci was looking phenomenal during that split. Do you feel like when you guys go into a possible, rematch situation, do you think they're going to be at the same margin of improvement of y'all, maybe see an exact kind of same score line, or do y'all feel like they're going to maybe close the gap a little bit?
We actually played them, I think it was last week, and it went to 3 maps. So we kind of expected a tougher game. I think it was a little bit easier this time. So I think the third matchup will be a little bit closer, and we'll see how that goes. I think it should be a good match to watch.
Hopefully.
Ooh, I like it. A little bit of confidence there, a little bit of extra flair, but at the same time, you guys have shown through your own gameplay that no matter what, you're always up for the challenge, which we love and enjoy to watch. Ange, thank you so much for the interview. I know we're keeping it brief, so let's go ahead and give you a chance to shout out anyone that you so wish, whether it be teammates or maybe some other opponents or anyone that's helped you along your journey.
Shout out to my girlfriend for watching all my matches. Shout out to my parents watching all my matches, and just thank you, Maryville, for allowing us to play this.
Hey, there you go. Short, sweet, and to the point. Ange, just like your gameplay. Thank you very much for the interview.
Appreciate it, guys.
With that being said, it's been a treat and a half. I know we had a little bit of reschedule, so thank you to everyone that did tune in. I mean, Mick, those are some very curt words, which I do love, honestly, to my own. I love someone that is very confident in what they're saying. They know what they got to say, and they know how to get things done.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. Obviously, Maryville, best word for Image every single week, showing up, ready to play, ready to get in there, just kind of business per usual. And I'm expecting to see that next week as well against Winthrop. That's going to be the game to watch. I'm so excited for you guys to be able to cast that one because, well, maybe me and Scott will get a bit of a rematch in the grand finals. Who knows? But a lot of wild cards here. St. Clair could step up to the plate once more because obviously this season has been a bit of a curveball to us. A lot of teams not performing to the same standard of what we saw prior, but even then that gives the same point of elevation to step up, take that top slot, and even maybe get into a grand finals because it was Stony Brook last split as well, who also locked in, shut down Winthrop there towards the end of the regular season. So who knows what could be thrown at us. We just got to be here to watch and cast.
I know, that's the fun part. We get to sit back, kick back, relax, just watch the stats fly in front of our faces, or maybe a couple bullets that result in a 4K ace, and so much more. Thank you to everyone who did tune in to the Division 1 Valorant side of things here tonight. Now, I do want to give a big shout out because there's more Division 1 action, just not here on the Valorant side. I want to say there was a reschedule on the League of Legends side as well that'll be played off tomorrow at 6 p.m. EST. Make sure to tune into that one as well. That'll be on the other channel, so make sure to please go ahead and follow that one. We want to give a very, very big shout out to our producer and observer, Ice Fire Ride, running everything on the back end from the camera to the plays and so much more. But of course, Mick, it was a blast to work with you here on the evening. You and I do not have too many opportunities to do so, so it was a blessing. Of course, my name is Orbital with me, and hopefully everyone enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in. We'll catch you all next time.
Why does it always seem like I'm moving backwards? Caught up in a dream, everybody's actors. Why does it always how it seems. Like people change faces, and nothing is real. Oh yeah. And you know, I seen better days.